All right, we're about like a few hours away for the 2017 Royal Rumble. It's my, I love the Royal Rumble. That's my favorite pay per view. Just wanted to do a quick review, and then I'm going to do my prediction of who's going to win the 2017 Royal Rumble. So let's go back into our time machine, go back 10 years to the Royal Rumble 2007. It's unbelievable this was like 10 years ago. It's how time flies, and also how some things don't change in WWE. Because if you see here, John Cena was in a championship match, and 10 years later, he's in a championship match. So it's kind of like, he's been on top for the last decade, and, surpassing Hulk Hogan, sorry, and, Stone Cold Steve Austin as, that top guy. So this DVD, I got this at Blockbuster 10 years ago. I used to love Blockbuster, going on the weekends. So this is the Blockbuster. I guess it's like they have the bonus disc in this series. As you see, the nice cover right here, side view, and then this back view with the matches. We open it up. We have the Royal Rumble, and then the bonus disc. I don't know if you can find this DVD anywhere really now. Maybe on Amazon.com or eBay. It's just that I think now, I don't know if WWE on WWE Shop, if they even sell it like this. Especially, I don't think they sell it with the bonus disc. But first, what you're gonna get on the bonus disc is I got John Cena and Yamaga's contract signing from Raw. You have Shawn Michaels versus Edge in a street fight. We have Undertaker versus Mr. Kennedy from Smackdown. And from ECW, we have Lashley versus RVD versus Test for the ECW title. So back then, they still had the brand split, and they had SmackDown, they had Raw, and then they had ECW. Well, it wasn't, we all know what kind of ECW that was. It wasn't the one that we all love. It was a watered-down version, or the WWE version of ECW. So the matches, so there was like 3 key title matches. For the ECW title, we have Bobby Lashley defending against Test. Early in Bobby Lashley's career, I think now I think he's better suited for Impact. I think it took him a while. I mean, he was not the best promos and stuff like that, but back then, he was very young, and I think now he's, more matured as a wrestler. I still think that he struggles with the promos. I think they should have someone in TNA, like how Brock Lesnar has Paul Heyman, someone to do the talking for him. So it's back then when he was ECW champion. He was getting a big push by WWE back then. Going into WrestleMania 23, he was feuding with Vince McMahon, or would later feud with Vince McMahon. Then we have for the World Heavyweight Championship match for SmackDown, Batista defending the title against Mr. Kennedy. Again, back then, 2007, Mr. Kennedy was one of their top heels. Again, his career went kind of down for a while, So, so we got Batista versus Mr. Kennedy. And then for the WWE title, we have a last man standing match, John Cena versus Yamaga. I think Yamaga passed away a couple years ago. At the time, he was built as this unstoppable heel, indestructible. What the problem with indestructible heels is, they dominate in the beginning. You throw like jobbers or lower mid card guys at them. They go through them, and then eventually they're gonna have to get beat by the top star, which is John Cena. And I think Yamaga was never able to. I guess after this defeat, I guess he was never was ever able to overcome that. And I think that was kind of like his downfall. And I don't think, I know he did some things with DX and stuff, but I don't think that he was after this. I think he was pretty much down the card. And then we all knew that Yamaga was going to win the title anyway. And then we had the Royal Rumble match. This was won by The Undertaker. It was a pretty good. He was number 30. I did enjoy, the best part was really when it came down to Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. I thought that was pretty good. You see those guys, they haven't really, back then, they haven't really crossed paths. Because, Shawn was on Raw and Undertaker was on SmackDown. I think the last time they were really, in a ring, against each other was had to be back in '97 at Ground Zero or Hell in the Cell, I believe. You know what? Also '98 at the Royal Rumble, '98. So yeah, so it's a while, that those guys, didn't wrestle against each other. So they came down to the last two, and the Undertaker finally, wins, and he would eventually go on to WrestleMania 23 to face Batista. Shawn Michaels would go on later to face John Cena at WrestleMania. Again, that spot was supposed to be for Triple H, but earlier in the year, Triple H suffered another quad injury, so Shawn Michaels had to take that spot. So definitely, 2007, again, it was 10 years ago. Sometimes it feels it's longer. The wrestling business, time, a year in a wrestling business can feel like 10 years with the amount of changes that happens. So, definitely check this out. If you're in the Royal Rumble spirit after watching tonight's event, and you want to watch old Royal Rumbles, definitely check out 2007. And then let's get on to tonight's Royal Rumble. Who do I think is going to win? Well, if you go to any WrestleZone, like wrestling websites like WrestleZone or Wrestle Inc., they just release the rumored WrestleMania card. So there's two key matches on the WrestleMania card that might influence who's going to win the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns against The Undertaker, and Randy Orton against Bray Wyatt. Now, I predict, it's either going to be The Undertaker or Randy Orton. So this is what I'm hearing. Randy Orton's going to win the Royal Rumble, and then at Elimination Chamber, Bray Wyatt's going to win the WWE title to set up their match. So what I think is going to happen is, Bray Wyatt's going to think that Randy Orton's going to just lay down for him and let him win or something, or just forfeit the match because he feels like he's part of the Wyatt family. But I'm just waiting. It's going to happen when Randy Orton's going to turn on Bray Wyatt, and that's going to set up their match. I hear I don't agree with they're saying Kevin Owens and AJ Styles are not going to be the champions going to WrestleMania. I don't know why you have them with the titles for that long period if you don't think they're going to go into WrestleMania with the belts. But that's what I'm hearing. Now, this is the idea I had a couple weeks ago. I don't think it's going to happen, but if it does, you hear it here first. I think it's going to be we're in the Rumble. We get up to the high 20s. All of a sudden, the lights go down. It's not The Undertaker. Finn Balor comes out. We hear the beat of his music. The Demon. He comes out. He walks down. And everybody's surprised because he's coming back from injury. It's a surprise, shocker. No one's expecting him. He goes down the ring, goes to the Rumble. He wins the Rumble. And that sets up him going to WrestleMania to take, to win back the Universal title, which he never lost. He had to vacate the title. And they'll set up his, a match with him and Kevin Owens. And they have history going back to NXT. I don't think that's going to happen because I think Kevin Owens is supposed to be feuding with Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. But that was my early prediction. We know it's not going to be Goldberg, and we know it's not going to be Lesnar because they're going to be they're facing each other at WrestleMania. So that's out of the question. Undertaker's a possibility because if he's going to be facing Reigns, and if Reigns wins the title, that gives him, that would be an interesting match, for the Universal title, Undertaker against Reigns, that would be interesting. Also, another person that might be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble is Samoa Joe. I heard that they're starting to promote Samoa Joe now, and he's going to be brought up to the main roster. So I'm thinking perhaps maybe they'll make Samoa Joe win the Royal Rumble, and that would set up, and we don't know, because again, with Samoa Joe, we don't know if he's on Raw, we don't know if he's on Smackdown. So he's kind of they could play this for a couple of weeks. Which champion is he going to choose? But then I hear, all these rumors that he might be facing John Cena at WrestleMania. So, all right, I think I made this video a little bit too long. Enjoy the Royal Rumble. Let me know who you think is going to win, and we'll talk later.